Hi friends, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you guys something personal that's been going on in my life. I've been MIA, haven't really made any videos recently, and it's because life's been a little bit crazy, but I definitely wanted to, I've been wanting to make this video for a while now. So recently I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's diffuse B-cell. So it's diffuse B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Such a long name, but yes, that's crazy. Life's been crazy. So back in July, if I start like with my symptoms, basically I started off with a cough, and it started off in 4th of July weekend. We went on a trip to go visit my brother, and it started then actually. I like noticed I had this cough, and I just thought it was because like the weather changed, or the room was colder. I was just like, okay, I have like weird cough, but it didn't go away. So for like 2 weeks I had this like random annoying cough, and I didn't feel sick. I was still going to work every day. It was kind of like when I would talk for long periods of time, it would get really dry and I would like start coughing. So again, it was kind of annoying, but nothing where I felt like something was wrong. So then I was at home one day over the weekend, and my baby, like I put her down for a nap, and I was like, you know, I'm feeling tired, like let me take a nap as well. And so I was trying to take a nap with her, but I couldn't. Like I would lay down on my back and I would start coughing and I couldn't breathe. I would lay to my right, and then the same thing, like I just felt like a heaviness on my chest, and then I would lay on my left, and then I was like laying on my stomach, and I was like, okay, like I should be able to breathe and be fine. Like I've never like, you know, felt like that. Like there was like a heaviness in my chest where I couldn't breathe. So Monday came. That was July 18th. I think that was the day I got admitted to the hospital. So July 18th, I make an appointment with my doctor, and luckily like they had an appointment that afternoon. Like they're like, oh, we can see you at 4. So I was like, perfect. So I go in and they're like, you know, checking me, breathe, and I'm telling them my symptoms, which in addition to my cough, like I also had like back pain and like abdomen pain, like where I felt like it was swollen. And I thought that was due to working out. Like I had been running and I'd been like doing like this new workout. So I just thought it was because of that. But so I was at the doctor, and like my doctor's checking me, and she's like, you know what, like I don't really know like what it could be. And then she checks my heart rate, and my heart rate is high. So then she wants to do like an EKG, like where I think that's what it's called. They just like put little stickers on you. It's connected to a machine, and they checks like your heart, and my heart rate was high. It was again like 117. And so because of that test, like she said, I recommend that you go to the ER. She's like, I don't really know what could be wrong, but she said I would rather you go to the ER and get checked out. I would hate to send you home and have something bad happen. So yeah, and so I was kind of like, oh, okay. So again, I didn't feel like anything was wrong, like bad. So I was weird, but like I called my boyfriend and I was like, hey, like coming home, like we need to get the baby to like have somebody watch her so we can go to the ER. So he's like, okay. So we take her over to his brother's, and we're like, okay, we'll be back later. Like, and they're like, okay. So we go to the ER, and when I get there, you know, they have to check you in, like, why are you here, and where's your insurance and everything like that. So they hook me up to like the little machine that checks your pulse, and then my heart rate was 140. And so they're like, oh, okay, like we gonna get you back in right away. So then they get me in like immediately, and I hooked up again to the machine. My heart rate was still high, and then they get me into a room right away. And then they're like, you know, I start asking like a bunch of questions like about what symptoms I have, which it's like I have a cough, and like that's basically it. And so they started doing their tests. They had me go in to do like a scan. They do like an x-ray as well, like of my chest. And so after multiple hours, they're like, at first they thought I had like a pulmonary embolism. I think that's what it's called. So they thought I had like a blood clot, because they're like, have you traveled? Like, have you been sitting down for a long period of time? And I'm like, oh, well, I went on a road trip 2 weeks ago, and because we went to visit my brother, like we drove there. And I was like, and that's when my cough started. So they're like, oh, they thought that's what was wrong. So they did this x-ray, and then they realized like that's not what it was. So they're like, no, that's not what you have. And they're like, we're gonna have to admit you into the hospital. You have like a really bad case of pneumonia. And I was like, what? Like pneumonia? And I was like, okay. And that was like a shock to me. Like, okay, I have pneumonia. Like, I thought like, you know, I've heard of people getting pneumonia, but like I didn't really feel like I had pneumonia. So I was like, all right, whatever. And they're like it's really bad, and you have like these little things in your chest. And then I was like, okay. So I was already like kind of upset at that point, like, oh great, I have pneumonia. I hadn't, up to that point, like I'd never left my baby overnight anywhere. I'm a crazy mom and I want to be with her at all the time. So I was like, oh my god, like she's gonna have to sleep over. So like we called my boyfriend's brother, and we're like, oh, can you keep the baby overnight? Like they're gonna admit me to the hospital. And then of course they're like, yeah, that's fine. So they admitted me into the room, and then I ended up being in the hospital for 11 days, and that's when I found out that I had cancer. So, you know, at first they thought like, okay, I had pneumonia, and then I had like a pulmonary doctor, I had like a disease and something doctor, and then I had my cancer doctor, and then I had like all these people trying to figure out like what was wrong, which they did figure out pretty quickly. Like I think like by day 3 in the hospital, like they were already kind of leaning towards I had lymphoma. But it was just like super crazy. Like at first they didn't know, because I had fluid in my lungs, I had fluid around my heart, and then when they did the scan, they realized I had like a tumor here in my chest, which they said was the size of a baseball, a flat baseball, like right here in the middle of my chest, like right here. So I had to have the procedures done where they like drain the liquid out of your lungs, which it was like, that was like the worst experience. Like I had to have surgery to remove the liquid out of my heart, which wasn't, I felt obviously that bad, because they just like, you know, put you down and, or put anesthesia, you go down and then you wake up and then you feel like crap. But it's called a thoracentesis or something like that when they take, I know I should like already know this word, because I've tried to say it like a million times to people, but I still get it wrong. So like they put a needle into your back and they go into your lung, and then they drain the liquid that's in your lung. And so when they did it, because I had it done twice, like the first time I didn't breathe, or I wasn't breathing, and I was freaking out because I've had an epidural, so it's kind of like when you have an epidural, like they tell you to like hold still, you know, we're gonna like put this needle in you, so like don't move. So like I kind of knew what to expect, but for some reason, like I guess I didn't breathe when they were doing it, because once they were done, and it was really fast and it didn't hurt, I felt super faint, like the world was spinning, and I was like, I'm gonna faint, I'm gonna faint. And the guy was like, oh my gosh, like calm down, like just breathe. And I was like freaking out, like I've never fainted before, so I was like being crazy. And then he had to call one of the nurses back in, and she was like, just breathe. And then like they take my heart rate, and my heart rate is like low, like super low, like 60 over something. I don't know. It was really, really low. She's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, okay, breathe. And like, they were just trying to get me to relax. And then like finally I did. So then like 2 days later, they're like, oh, you need to do it again. And I was like, started bawling, and I was like, no, like, it was the worst experience the first time. And I did it again, and the same nurse was there, and she's like, okay, this time we're not gonna pass out, like you're gonna breathe. And so I was like, okay. And then I was fine. So they also did like a biopsy where they went with like a needle right in here in the middle to the tumor, but then they realized like they weren't able to know what it was based off that biopsy. So I think that's when they knew like it was lymphoma. And then so when they did the surgery to remove the liquid out of my heart, they went in there and got like a bigger chunk of the tumor. And then that was like a Friday, I think, is when I had surgery. And they're like, okay, by Tuesday we should know like if it's lymphoma or not. So I don't want to say like I had a feeling that I had cancer. Like I was like in denial, like there's no way like I have cancer, like I feel fine, like people get cancer, they're old. And like I'm getting emotional because it's like crazy. So like I was like, there's no way, you know. And so it was kind of hard. It was really hard, obviously, waiting to find out if that's what it was. But at that point, like I was so ready, because it was again, like I never left my baby overnight anywhere, and I was in the hospital, and she had to stay like with grandma like every night, and that was really heartbreaking for me, like to not be able to be with her. And then what also was hard was I was still breastfeeding her. Okay, don't cry. Okay, I need to get it together. So TMI, mommy here, but I was still breastfeeding her, and I wasn't ready to stop breastfeeding her yet. Like she's 2, she turned 2 in June, but I wasn't ready to stop yet, right? So, okay, I need to stop. Okay. Ooh, sorry guys. So TMI, like I was still breastfeeding Violetta, so you know, like I had to leave her overnight, and then I couldn't breastfeed her because like they were giving me antibiotics, like they didn't know what was wrong. They thought I had like an infection or whatever. So I was getting pumped with drugs already the whole time I was in the hospital, not knowing what was really wrong. So of course I couldn't breastfeed her. I didn't want to breastfeed her just because, you know, like didn't want to do that. So I was like admitted to the hospital. You don't know what's wrong. You have all these doctors checking in on you, like asking you questions, you know, trying to figure out what's wrong. Of course, people are drawing blood like at 2 in the morning, like annoying times, like when you're trying to sleep, you know, like multiple times a day, like you're getting scans, like you're getting procedures done. Like those 11 days were so hard. So like when I had surgery and they're like, okay, you'll know on Tuesday if you have lymphoma or not, like I just wanted to know, like, okay, I'm ready to just know, like if it is, like, okay, like let's move forward, and what do we do now? So Tuesday came, and my doctor came, who is my cancer doctor, oncologist, and he's like, yep, you have lymphoma, and it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and B-cell, whatever. Gave me the diagnosis, and I was kind of just like numb, I felt like obviously like a shock. Like I didn't think that I had cancer. I didn't have a feeling, a gut feeling or anything like that, they were going to tell me, you know, like I was still pretty hopeful, like that was going to be like not it, like it was something else. So it was kind of shocking. I guess it made me really upset, especially because I have a daughter. And when I think about my daughter, like it makes me want to cry. Don't cry. You know, my daughter's only 2 years old, and I'm like, there's no way, like I need to be here for my baby. Like I love being a mom. So I think that's like the most upsetting. When you think about cancer, you think about it being terminal. You think of death, you think of like your time has come, you know, like you're done. So I think like that's the worst thing, like having to deal with like thinking of leaving my baby, like not being able to watch her grow up. I think like that's like the worst. Let me get it together. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys. Oh yeah, like my daughter means the world to me, so like just thinking about those thoughts of like not being able to be here for her, like not being able to see her grow up, or like not being able to see her, like, you know, do all her milestone things a mom, what, you know, as a mom you want to see your kid do. So that was like the toughest thing, was like thinking of all those things. That was like the hardest and shocking to me. But he's like, so we're gonna try to start chemo this week, and then they had to tell me that, oh, he started telling me like you need to think about fertility, like because the drugs can make you infertile, and think about preserving your eggs. And I was like, I don't even care, like like I don't care, you know. And then he's like, well, you are gonna care once you beat this, you know, and you're want to know about, you know, you're gonna think about growing your family or whatever. So I was like, okay. So that was like another thing on top of it that was just like crazy. So that was like my crazy hospital experience. And then I started chemo like the last week of July, and the type of chemo treatment that they have me on, it's called R-CHOP, and which is really common for people that have lymphoma. Like I start steroids on a Tuesday, I do chemo on a Wednesday, and then I get a shot that's called Neulasta shot, which is supposed to help my white blood cell count come up. So I do the steroids Tuesdays, chemo's Wednesday, and then the shot on Thursday. So that's always like that, and it's 21 days apart, so 6 sessions. So so far I've done 5 sessions. Woo! 5, and my 6th one will be in 2 weeks. So it's been crazy. With the chemo, like the very first one, I felt like super nauseous right away. I got released from the hospital like the day after chemo, and I went home and I felt super nauseous. I had no appetite. That was like the one time I did cry. I was like, I'm so hungry, but like I crave nothing. And so that was like shocking, I guess, to be like, okay, this is chemo, this is cancer, like craziness. And but since then I've been able to do pretty well. Like I always do get nauseous after chemo, but I still always have my appetite. I can eat. I don't throw up or anything like that. I get tired, but it doesn't stop me. Like it doesn't keep me in bed. Like I'm try to be active and just live a normal life per se. I haven't been working basically because like I was admitted into the hospital and then I had surgery and such. I had to go on FMLA, and then I was released from the hospital and I went home and I felt sick, and so obviously like I couldn't work, and so I've just been on that. In my FMLA technically is only 3 months, and now it's been a little bit over 3 months, so now I'm just considered on personal leave. I hope I can go back to work in December, so next month. So let's see. I'm like, I hope so. Not that I want to go back to work, obviously, like I'll be at home with the baby, like that's great, but like trying to get back to like normal life per se. Try to go back to like normal life, you know, normal, if there's such thing. So but like throughout this whole chemo, like I've definitely tried to stay positive. I try not to let any negative thoughts come into my head. It was just really hard because like when you go online, you know, I do try to like look at people that are in my situation and see how they're doing, and you know, because you hope that they're doing well and you want the same for yourself. But then you read stories, or somebody makes a comment, oh, you know, like my husband died, and then it just was like, oh no, you know, like, or my daughter died and they had, you know, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so it kind of sucks because, you know, you try to stay positive, but there is also not negativity, but reality out there that not everybody makes it, that not everybody, you know, chemo doesn't work for everybody, the treatment doesn't work for everybody, people relapse, you know, reality of life, I guess, that, you know, people die from cancer. So it is hard. But I try to not think of those things. Definitely every day that I wake up, like I try to think of positive things. And my daughter is like the biggest help to that. Is, you know, like she wakes up, she's in my face, like, give me food, I'm hungry, you know, give me water, play with me. You know, she's Miss Bossy, and I have to keep up with her. And there is no moping around, there is no staying in bed, thinking of negativity or negative things. There's, you know, there's none of that. I can't sulk. I can't, like, I'm sorry, I'm a mom, like I need to, you know, like she keeps me on my toes, like she keeps me energized and moving forward and being positive and grateful, and, you know, looking forward to tomorrow. So yeah, that's my life right now. It's crazy. One of the other things too is, you know, when you're going through chemo, like you have like critical periods in between your chemos where like you can't, like you shouldn't really be out in crowds, because like you want to avoid getting sick, because your immune system is weak. You know, the chemo, it kills your bad cells, but it also kills your good cells, and your body isn't as strong, you know, like if, you know, you get the cold or you get the flu, like that could be really bad. Thankfully I haven't been neutropenic, I think is the word, where it's like your white blood count is like 0, where you don't have an immune system. Usually like it happens 7 days after chemo, where like your white blood count is the lowest, and they say for like 7 days that's like your critical time. So like in between, like in those 7 days, like I do try to like avoid crowds. Like I try not to go out and expose myself to germs, but I've done it. Like it's like I still want to live life. Like I don't want to be at home locked up and not go anywhere. Like I kind of did that for like the first chemo. Like I was at home every day, I didn't go anywhere. And then I remember once like my critical time was done, like we went to Target, and then my legs were hurting and I was getting like cramps in my legs, and I was like, it's probably because I've been at home like in my bed this whole time, and like walking only like short distances to the kitchen or to the living room. So then after that I was like, no, like I need to get out, I need to walk, like I need to just live my life, and obviously take extra precautions and wash my hands more, or like I have like hand sanitizer, you know, wipe down counters and things like that when you're out. I did go on vacation after I think like my 4th chemo. I went on vacation to Mexico, and we weren't really sure if we were going to be able to go, but we did end up going, and it was fun. I don't regret going at all. Like I was thinking I was going to regret going, but every day I felt amazing. I walked, I exercised, I ate amazing food, and I was so happy. And Violetta and Alex had like an amazing time, and we made more memories as a family. And that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on now, is just making sure I appreciate my family and making memories and having a great time, just because, you know, life is short, and, you know, I need to appreciate every day and take advantage of my family and my life. So yeah, so that's what's been going on. I'm gonna make sure I make more videos. I want to make more videos right in the next few weeks, but I definitely wanted to make this video first, just to kind of let you guys know what's been going on in my life, because I said it's been crazy. I said family's been amazing. Alex, who's my boyfriend, he's been amazing. I know that it's been hard for him, you know, dealing with everything and like the added responsibilities, because basically when I got out of the hospital, I just had heart surgery. I have like an incision right here in my chest, an incision like underneath my boob, and I had like my port that they just put in. So I was like in a lot of pain. I couldn't lift the baby. I didn't have the energy to like chase her around or like do dinner or anything like that, because you know, like you're in the kitchen, like you're getting stuff from the cupboards, like you're lifting your arm, you know, like I couldn't even do that. Like I couldn't even like get plates out of the cupboards, or I couldn't even like open water. Like it was like so hard. So like he was amazing. Like for the first, I would say like 3 weeks, I had like family rotating. Then my mom would come by and she would watch me and watch the baby and like help with dinner and like help with cleaning. You know, Alex's mom and my sister-in-law Crystal, like she's been so amazing through it all. My sister's been over here, like everybody's been over here like trying to help me like get through it. And then after a few weeks, like I got better and like my wound started to heal, where I could do a lot more. And so then I've just been at home by myself with the baby and like watching her. But again, still my family and his family have been like super amazing and supportive, and just like all the love and support too that I got like from all my friends on Facebook, and you know, friends that I had from like elementary that I haven't seen in years, or like people that I met in high school and I haven't seen in years. Like all the love and support that I've gotten through them like has been super amazing, and just shows me like I'm loved, and like, you know, makes me fight even stronger. So but yeah, I'm happy and I'm positive. I hope that like if you're watching this video because you've been diagnosed, you know, to let you know that there is hope, and to fight with all your might. And yeah, and just stay positive, because there is a cure. There, you know, your story is different from everybody else's, and that's what I tell myself, you know, like, and that's what other people tell me too, you know, like don't compare yourself to other people's story, because this is your own story. You know, like you need to be strong. You need to believe in yourself. You need to think positive things, send positive thoughts out into the world, like into the universe, that you're gonna be okay. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this super long video. Thanks, I appreciate it. And yeah, talk to you guys soon. Bye.